Professional Bowlers Tour has returned to the Hoosier capital city of Indianapolis for the finals of the prestigious United States Open. Bowling big in Indianapolis in April. In May, it's the greatest spectacle in racing, the Indy 500. ABC Sports will be back to televise it live May 26th. Hello again, I'm Chris Schenkel in the Viper pace car and alongside my legend friend, Carroll Shelby. Welcome back to Indianapolis.
Thank you, Chris. It's good to be here, always.
Neat car we're about to move on with.
Beautiful car. This is the new Viper, Chris. You know, it'll be the pace car at the race.
And you'll be driving it?
Hope so.
Listen, before we take a little run around the track, I know you're good at picking winners. Who do you pick in the U.S. Open today?
How about Pete Weber?
Ideal. We got to go to Woodland Bowl and meet Nelson Burton Jr., but before you take me there, how about a spin around the track, pal?
How fast do you want to go, Chris?
180.
No problem with a Viper.
Here we go.
Well, Chris Schenkel, 180 miles an hour without a helmet on, you're a pretty brave dude. And I'm looking forward to that Indianapolis 500 also in May. And not far from the Indianapolis 500 track is Woodland Bowl, site of the 1991 U.S. Open. Now, this is the third major event, Triple Crown event, on ABC television in April. We had the PBA National Championship on 2 weeks ago. We had the 1991 U.S. Open today, and the Firestone Tournament of Champions just 2 weeks from today. Now, the U.S. Open is the granddaddy of all the major titles. Actually, it is the oldest of all the PBA National Championships. It actually started in 1922. It was called the National Match Game Championship. Then in the 1940s, it became the All-Star Tournament. And then when it came on board as ABC's U.S. Open, it was called the U.S. Open. And with this tournament are many rewards. One of them is this beautiful trophy that the winner will take home today. Also $40,000 in cash, a 3-year exemption to the Firestone Tournament of Champions. And I think one of the greatest rewards of this tournament is that you are exempt for life and have an entry into this tournament as long as you bowl. Now, Chris, there's some very difficult lane conditions out there today, so let's take a look at how the players are going to play them. The PBA has put down a lane condition this week for the U.S. Open where there's oil 45 feet down the lane. There's also a low coefficient of friction surface for 40 feet. Now, the back end of the lane, the last 15 feet, is very dry. Now, the 3 right-handers are playing somewhere between the 2nd and 3rd arrows. The power players are playing between the 3rd and 4th arrows. Now, the 2 lefties are playing different lines. One lefty, Mazza, may be around the 4th arrow. The other left-hander, Wolfe, may be out around the 2nd arrow.
Coming up next at ABC's Wide World of Sports after we see the action here in Indianapolis, special performances from the United States Figure Skating Championships in Minnesota. Plus, Olympic gold medalist Mark Spitz duels Tom Jager in the Clairol Option Challenge, 50-meter breaststroke, and the Bluegrass Stakes presented by John Deere Lawn Care Dealers. That's live. It all begins next following the Professional Bowlers Tour telecast. And here we go with the prize money. Look at it. 40 for the winner, 22, 12, 8, 6,500 out of a total of $225,000. So the finals of the United States Open will get underway now. Pete Weber against Dave Ferraro. Weber, red shirt, shooting first on the left lane. Pete Weber on his very first shot leading the 4-pin. Didn't trip it.
Chris, he's changing balls for spares. A low coefficient of surface ball, very shiny ball, so it goes very straight for the spares for accuracy.
Winner of the 1988 United States Open in Atlantic City, Pete Weber. The defending Firestone champion now from upstate New York and Kingston, Dave Ferraro. 5 championships in his 12 years as a pro, a wonderful athlete. High hit, leaving the 3-6.
Ferraro with an ideal style for a short player. He rushes the line a little bit to get a good ball speed, has a 5-step delivery, medium-high backswing, good loft over the line, a little bit high on this particular shot.
For Dave Ferraro, it's his 24th television appearance, his first this year, which is very unusual for him because last year he earned $111,000, and he was on our telecast 5 times.
Average 214 this week on the championship here, 59 and 60 here at Woodland Bowl and 80 Lane Bowling Center in North Indianapolis.
So it's a 2-pin on the left lane. These are ardent bowling fans, Nelson. They applaud anything that moves.
Well, you're right, Chris, and this is a pretty good shot by Dave Ferraro. He went high, made a little adjustment on the left-hand lane, leaves the 2-pin, a natural adjustment, and it really looks like the player is a little more tense than we normally see him in a championship round. This is a major title.
Competitive city it is, Indianapolis, amateur sports capital of the world. ABC televising the World Gymnastics Championships from here in September. Dave Ferraro, now Pete Weber. Remember, he marked with a spare. Second frame for Pete. A 10 and a smile.
Pete Weber hit the pocket a lot of times this week and left a lot of 10 pins, and he has an ideal style, probably the most dominant player in the game today. That high backswing, look at how high he is, hand open, gets that ball inside the left leg, and look at the big break, solid 10. Chris, the reason he left so many 10 pins this week is that he said that he was using a ball that doesn't hook quite as much so he can control it. He didn't figure there'd be a lot of high scores in a major tournament, and that's normally true. So you want to get a lot of clean frames, and when the ball's not hooking quite sharply enough or hooks a little late, you leave a lot of 10s.
Huge field started here. It's a week-long event. It's important to all bowlers everywhere. Oh, yes. Hanging precariously on the edge of the channel. Beautiful to watch, isn't it?
Well, he has it so well. As you see this gigantic crowd that was just a sellout all week long, more than 2,000 people for every single session this week. As you said, 7 days long, 56 games.
And for Dave Ferraro, after 2 spares, his first strike. He captured one jewel of bowling's Triple Crown, the Firestone, and now shares with us the meaning of a victory here today.
Well, it would definitely be special winning the U.S. Open. It's one of our major tournaments, and I've already won the Firestone. This would be the second leg, and it would just be the PBA National remaining to win the Triple Crown.
Goals. The good ones have them.
And this young man has tons of potential.
All right, with that big double, he takes a 10-pin lead. We're at Woodland Bowl in North Indianapolis near Carmel. We'll be back. The 2 officials of the Bowling Proprietors Association of America, Chief Wapinski, completing 20 years, retires this June. And Wally Hall is the president of the Bowling Proprietors, a longtime executive in the chain of bowling establishments. 2 extraordinary individuals that are always enhancing the game and its players.
Weber trails by 10, can make it an even match.
Count of 4.
Pete Weber has bowled very well in all the major tournaments in recent years, and his real goal is obviously to be bowling's all-time leading money winner, and I think he'll close on that in the next year or 2.
Right, he became the 4th millionaire, and he is so very, very young, only 28. He's already won the Triple Crown. We asked him what a victory here today would mean to him.
Well, first of all, it'd make me $40,000 richer. It would put me 1 title closer to winning the Triple Crown twice, and I'd be the first man to do it.
All right. He's got his priorities in order, I guess. And his shot on that lane, particularly good.
Dave Ferraro took a long route to the championship round. We said it was 56 games this week. It was 57 for David. He tied for 3rd and 4th positions with John Mazza. He lost in a roll-off last night, 276 to 212. Hence he bowls the first match today.
just a little high, and he left the 4-7, and oh, how he wanted that to make it a three-bagger.
Well, these two players have had some terrific matches in the Triple Crown events. They bowled each other twice in the Triple Crown events. He defeated Pete Weber in the opening game of the 1988 PBA National Championship, 216-210, but he lost to Pete in the title of the 1989 National Championship.
All right. This is our very first match. If you just joined us in the United States Open, the winner will meet John Mazza of Mount Clemens, Michigan. Then we move on to a non-winner named Richard Wolfe of Arlington, Virginia, and then Mark Thayer, the tournament leader from Lafayette, Indiana.
We'll see how Dave Ferraro is playing the championship pair. He's starting slightly on the left. He's going to slide in this area and play right between the second and third arrows. An excellent shot.
Now here reaching the halfway point of this match, and talk about a delay and patience, Nelson.
You're right, Chris, and that pin action had to come from the right side. Let's watch the right side of the screen. You see the 3-pin go to the sideboard. It gets caught by the 6, slides around, wraps around the 4. Great break for Dave Ferraro as he leads the match by 8.
Pete needed that because it gives him a double and puts him now in a 2-pin lead. He looks at his opponent as he comes back. There's a little psyching going on here. As Bo had mentioned a moment ago, they have battled each other in big events.
Two of the best players on the PBA Tour. Pete Weber playing a little different line. Pete playing the big hook will stand pretty much in the center. Now Pete will drift to the left, and he'll start a shot right in this area. So watch how his ball will roll pretty much inside out.
See what luck can do?
And that was bad luck, partner.
That was bad. One flying right by it.
Oh, you're right. He buries it. The action, the 2-pin, driving the 4-pin straight back off of the 7. It's a good break for Ferraro in the 6, a bad break for Weber in the 7.
But he vented some of his anger with his motion toward the falling 7-pin. We'll be back with this first match following this message. Yes, 3 parts wide world and infinite variety. There you have it. Skating, swimming, thoroughbred racing. This is the United States Open Championship in Indianapolis, Indiana. First game, David Ferraro trailing by 1 can take the lead. He has a strike up. He's now shooting in the 7th frame. Seesaw battle. Dave Ferraro and many-time champion Pete Weber. Here's champion Nelson Burton.
Thank you, Chris. John Mazza, the lefties are playing outside, some of them, but you're the 4th arrow and right down the center lane. You got there this week playing that way. How about your strategy the next game?
I think that that's what I'm going to do in Bo. I'm going to play the inside line and give it my best shot.
Chris, he's already been a winner from the inside line this year. He's going to be very tough in the next match. Good luck, John.
All right, Ferraro on the left lane can increase his lead to 19. But he did not, leaving the 2 and sleeper 8. Dave Ferraro, defending Firestone champion. Best finish this year was 6th at the Pinole Open.
See Ferraro with that little extra loft on the ball. That delays the hook. He slides by the hand pin, leaves it 2-8. And this is one of the difficult spares in this lane condition if you don't keep your speed up. Ooh.
Sigh of relief. 2 breaks thus far for Dave Ferraro in this close match. Now Weber is up, shooting in the 8th frame, a spare working and trailing by 7. Another 4-pin, his 3rd of the match.
He's almost too relaxed. He's been around the pocket every shot. Left a 4-pin, 10-pin, strike, 4-pin, 2 strikes, a 7, and another 4. As you see the low angle, the deep inside line that Weber's playing, and a shot through the pin deck.
Okay. There you see Richard Weber, dad on the right, and Pete's fiancée. Be married in July, Kim Schultheis of Columbus, Ohio.
For Pete Weber, possible 227. He's going at a 207 pace. Ferraro leading the match by 8 at a 215 pace. It's down to the last 2 frames.
In the 9th, strike for Pete Weber.
You think he's psyched for this? He's bowled so well the first 9 frames. He only has a 207 rate to show for it.
And we get a re-rack here, asked for by Dave Ferraro. Next Saturday at 3, 2 Central. ABC's Pro Bowlers Tour continues. We head to Windsor Locks, Connecticut. It's the $160,000 Tums Classic. Live, 3, 2 Central, next Saturday here on ABC. 9th frame, Ferraro.
Dave Ferraro is so good at speed control. Ferraro doesn't throw the big hook ball like many of the contemporary stars as he's asking for his second re-rack of the game here in the 10th frame. But he uses speed, control, and loft to control the lane. Now you saw Dave drifting high on the right-hand lane a couple of shots during the match. Here in the 9th frame, he throws a little bit more speed and puts himself in a position where he can lock out Pete Weber.
Pete is the leading money winner. Ozio second, Monicelli, Duke, and so on down the line. There he is.
Ferraro with 2 strikes would shut out Weber.
But another 2-8.
Once again, he's actually just a little too deep. I mean, too far left on the lane. So he has gone by the head pin twice on the left-hand lane, and he's left the 2-8. Needs to get the ball right between the 2 and 8, and he barely made this spare in the 8th frame. He needs it to maintain his lead, 10th frame.
Both bowlers with beautiful form. Sort of, anytime they're on our telecast, Nelson, with your help, it's like getting a lesson in watching the 2 of them bowl.
Well, thank you, Chris. And both these players, obviously the best in the world, knowing how to throw strikes, handle the pressure. And the count ball is very important here for Ferraro. If he strikes in this ball, he'll make Weber strike and at least 9 spare to win.
Out goes the 10 at the last minute. A 2:15 for Dave Ferraro.
Watch the head pin. Boy, oh boy, it looks like there was 11 pins in the rack as it comes shooting across, knocks out the 10, and sets up a situation for Pete Weber of simply this. He must strike on this ball and get at least 9 spare on the second ball on the 10th to win the match. Anything less, he loses.
Tough in the clutch. Best 17 titles, the youngest to win 10 titles when he was only 24 years old. Talk about a chip off the block.
Whew. Great clutch shot, but he needs 9 spare to win. And Chris, we've seen a couple of times this year where a player is overly emotional when he gets the strike and doesn't come back and fill the frame. So he's got to remember a strike or 9 spare to win. Anything less, we can either have a tie or Pete loses.
In doubt for a while, but
everybody laughing a little bit. What goes around comes around as Pete Weber gets a great break and wins match 1.
ABC Sports presentation of Professional Bowlers Tour will return after this message and a word from our ABC station. A jubilant gesture by Pete Weber, and rightfully so. 7 strikes, 227 to 215 victory over Dave Ferraro. Now going against another emotional professional named John Mazza of Mount Clemens, Michigan. This is our second match, the 50th anniversary U.S. Open. Okay, doubleheader tomorrow. World League, Orlando Thunder against the Barcelona Dragons. That's at 1 Eastern, 12 Central Pacific. Followed by, get this, 4 and 3 Central and Pacific. Top kart drivers meet on the streets of Southern California for the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. All in preparation for the 75th Indianapolis 500, May 26th, right here on ABC. 50th U.S. Open right now.
and that Indianapolis 500 being out there with you yesterday. The Speedway is such a delight, Chris, and quite a great spectacle that I really have never seen myself, and you've been there a lot of times.
Well, you're invited. I do miss the late Tony Holman, who was my pal and friend, but Carroll Shelby's here, so we'll have a good time this year, so come and join us.
All right. Weber, first shot, second.
And Pete Weber, with 7 strikes in his first game victory, starts impressively. Now, John Mazza, here is a professional we all appreciate. He's a 27-year-old left-hander from Mount Clemens, Michigan. Finally got that first title.
Mazza, playing the deep inside line, has the same fate as Dave Ferraro did in his opening shot on the right-hand lane. Ferraro drifted high, left a 3-6 spare for the righties. John Mazza, the same fate, the 2-4 for the lefties. A little straighter at the spare. He's improved his spare making.
John has back-to-back final telecasts this year, so this is his 3rd of the year and only 5th overall. As a 2nd seed, he won the Florida Open in Winter Haven, beating Mike Albee and Mike Edwards. Now in the U.S. Open, he was seeded 3rd. .47.
John Mazza, a very persistent young pro out here. He struggled along and learned for 7 years. Started really improving last year, as you see his ball drifting high once again, leaving the 4-7. And he's really improved his power game, his spare game, and he's on the threshold of staying right near the top.
Okay, a little bit later, Bo will give the rundown on how they finished, especially the top 24. But with Earl Anthony on the scene, we must point out he had a great tournament at 13th, Mark Roth 18th, and Holman 20th. Ron Palumbi, who has had recent surgery, defending champion, finished 65th, but what an effort to compete.
You're right. Palumbi, the defending champion, won $80,000 last year.
Weber leading the 3-6-10.
Both these players products of the junior program. Pete Weber actually bowled his first 300 game at age 12. As you see his ball going high on the right-hand lane, he's quickly up with a low surface friction bowling ball. And Mazza started bowling at the age of 10.
Chopping the 3 off the 6-10 figure.
Uncharacteristic of Pete Weber, as you look through the back end pit area of the bowling lane through a plastic shield, he chops the 3 off the 6-10. He just decided to throw the slow hook ball at that spare instead of throwing the hard speed shot and paid the penalty.
Coming back from that error, his dad appreciates that. Juanita, his mom, is not here, can't stand the pressure, but she's with her mom, Grandma Delt.
The big curve of Pete Weber starts at about the 20th board, goes out to about the 4th board at the 45-foot mark, snaps out the 10-pin, a perfect shot.
Still no strike in his first match of the afternoon for John Mazza. 6-pin.
For all you youngsters out there, I said John Mazza started junior league bowling at the age of 10. His first year's average was 40. He's improved quite a bit since then.
Just to show you how cruel the tournaments can be, especially major championships, as we look at John Mazza's fiancée, Leslie Minauda. Pretty.
Yes, sir.
That's not cruel. That's lovely. But the cruelty was for Brian Voss, Mike Albee, and Emiletta Monticelli. They didn't survive the cut.
Very demanding lane condition. 240 players, just 60 cash spots.
All right. John Mazza of Mount Clemens, Michigan, gets his first strike. He leads by 11 pins against Pete Weber. We'll be back after this. Del Valle next Saturday. They'll be at Bradley Bowl for the $160,000 Tums Classic. Windsor Locks, Connecticut. Pete Weber, Florissant, Missouri. He has a strike up, can cut Mazza's lead to 1. body English. The end of that shot. Here's Bo.
Thank you, Richard Wolfe, a left-hander. Lefties always beat me, Richard, and I'm glad I'm not bowling against you. But do you prefer to bowl against the lefty Mazda, or how about Pete Weber?
No, Mazza or Pete doesn't bother me. I got to make good shots. I think I'll do fine.
Pretty confident for his second round. Good luck, Richard.
24-year-old Richard Wolfe. 28-year-old Pete Weber. Not that time, leaving the 10 pin. Had that double up. Of course, he wanted to jump on it. Very close second match. If you just joined us, the first match was won by this man. He shot at 227. Dave Ferraro, 215. There's the shot, Bo. Speed.
A lot of speed. And that's the shot that both of us thought he would throw at that 3-6-10 spare in the second frame, which he chopped and has allowed Mazza to have a 2-pin lead. Mazza can extend that to 12 with a strike here in the 5th. Big trouble. Cuts right through the middle as you see him. Very soft, playing around the 4th arrow. He's quickly up for that split, though, and he's just going for 2. Bad mistake, Chris, right there, pal.
Yes. He has been much quicker today on the approach in the past telecasts, Nelson. I'm just wondering, I know here's a guy with a big heart that just wants to win everything, and maybe he's trying too hard. I don't know.
I agree. Or he may have studied bowling against Pete Weber. He feels if he bowled very quickly against Weber, he would have an effect on Weber. You know, you can psych out your other opponent also.
Nelson, no wonder you won 17 championships, including a United States Open. You were a psycher supreme.
Well, I'd say, well, thank you, but I think it's more cerebral bowling. You study your opponents as you play, and if you find a player likes to bowl very quickly, as Pete Weber does, you slow him down. If a player likes to bowl very slowly, then you speed him up. Here's Mazda for the spare.
Okay. A little more collected on that shot. John Mazza. John, who has his philosophy of having learned from years of failure, gets help from Fred Borden and from a sports psychologist, Hugh Bray, as we look at Weber's use of the entire approach. Well, that was a strike in the 6th.
A long format, 56 games this week. There were 96 BPAA entrants, Chris, and in 1989, I started keeping track of the PBAA entrants and the pros. In the 1989, the entrants averaged 181, the pros 200. Last year, the entrants 188, the pros 208. And this year, the BPAA 96 averaged 193, the pros 211. About an 18-pin difference between the pros and the entrants.
Okay, and with that double, it's a 24-pin lead now for Pete Weber, winner of the first game. His opponent is John Mazza. More of this match following this. That's excellence. Next, Wide World, we have a lot of it right here in Indianapolis, Indiana, capital city of the Hoosier State, from Michigan, John Mazza. He is trailing. He has a spare up, shooting in the 7th. And 9.
Best shot Mazza had made so far in the match, the solid 9. He trails by 25 pins after this conversion. And watch the action as the ball drives through the 1, 2, and then the 5 is chopped straight off the 9. That's the left-hander's answer to a right-hander's solid 8.
With a victory and a 3rd place finish this year, John Mazza. On a roll this year, he described what victory would mean.
Bo, that would mean I went the distance and I overcame a lot of things over the course of this week, and that means a lot to me to be able to go the distance this whole tournament.
Well, his distance is going to be 58 games if he doesn't get on the stick right here. He bowled 56 in the tournament, beat Ferraro in a roll-off. Now he's up against Weber, in trouble.
Well, that gives him 120 through the 7th, and that strike up there in the 8th frame. And up now with a double working 8th frame shot, Pete Weber.
That's the shot he talked about all week long. He's cut his hook down a little bit, even though it's a big hook for most players, and the ball breaks late. What I mean by that, the ideal spot is normally about 45 feet down the lane to break the ball to the pocket. He's going about 47 feet. The 6 goes around the 10. And if he changes his style and goes for more break, an earlier break, he becomes wild. So he's actually picking up his accuracy and has to sacrifice the solid 10s. Just a little quirk in his style at this bowling center, but he's been very successful at this center as he uses the full grip, just the tips of his fingers in the ball, a little reverse pitch in the thumbs, tucks that pinky finger, spreads the index finger. He's ready to go.
He talks to his shot. Gets his strike in the 9th frame.
This shot for John Mazza is absolutely mandatory to get back in the match. Trails by 24, could cut the lead of Weber's to 14.
Leaving a 2-4.
Chris, you picked it up right at the start of the match. He's real quick, that he's fast with his ball speed, slow with his ball speed, nothing consistent. As you see him hitting the line here, and he's dug himself a real hole as he trails Weber by 24 pins, 1 frame to go.
And the winner of this match will go against the young man Bo interviewed some time ago, Richard Wolfe of Arlington, Virginia. Leaders by rounds.
Hugh Miller led early, the lefty, in the high-scoring first 2 days. Mazda took over. Norm Duke, who's been very hot. That's 32 games of qualifying. Then Mazda and Thayer came around for the last 24, 56 games. That's just about the end of the tournament, Chris, for John Mazda.
Yes.
Best he can roll is 179. Pete Weber tooling along at a 204 pace. Doesn't even need a mark in the 10th.
But we're in April, and John Mazza with a victory and a 3rd place finish in the Bud Light at Sunrise, Florida. That's when he converted to 710. There's a long way to go. We had a successful year last year, earning $71,000 without a victory. It's not what he wants, though. He wants...
Oh, he's just like a baseball pitcher today. As Weber fiddles with the rosin bag, keeping his hands dry, has his game in the bag, so to speak. Mazda was just off in his timing.
Not on that shot, however. With a 179 for the popular pro from Clemens, Michigan, John Mazza. Leaving a 4-7.
And that's a winner for Pete Weber. He's going to go against the other left-hander, Richard Wolfe. While we have a moment here, we'll talk about Pete Weber filling in on his suspension. He is taking a 6-month suspension after the Firestone Tournament of Champions.
All right, and they shake hands, and Pete, of course, will go against Richard Wolfe. And now it's time for a bowling tip of the week. And with Nelson Burton, tour veteran Wayne Webb gives us a personalized tip.
ABC Sports Bowling Tip of the Week is brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately?
On this week's bowling tip, we have all-time great Wayne Webb. Wayne's won 17 PBA titles in his career, and when he came on the tour in 1980, he brought along with him a couple of innovative new ideas which many of the players are now incorporating in their game. Wayne, tell us about them.
Well, in the beginning, I had problems holding the ball up. My push-away was real bad, so I started hanging it down. It loosened my arm swing and made me much more accurate.
A shot that many players are using today, holding the ball low, keeping the swing inside out, and getting the ball right along the target line. The second little innovative thing that Wayne came along with is 2 targets, one at the break point and one at the arrows. Wayne, how'd you come about that type of move?
Well, I like to visualize the path of my ball, so I picked the mark out at 40 feet, and then I draw an imaginary line back through my mark at the arrows.
Definitely increases your accuracy because you have 2 targets, one for accuracy and one for break point. Just a super idea, and obviously it has worked well for you. Wayne, thanks a lot for helping us with the bowling tip of the week, and for you folks at home, 2 good ideas to try. Hold that ball a little bit lower to keep your arm swing in line with your target, and pick out a couple of targets to increase your accuracy.
Back home again in Indiana for the 50th Bowling Proprietors Association of America United States Open. In our first match, Pete Weber with 7 strikes, 227. Dave Ferraro's 215. Pete then moved against John Mazza, again with 7 strikes. Final score 204 to 179. So now Pete will go against a non-winner named Richard Wolfe of Arlington, Virginia. We're at Woodland Bowl in Indianapolis, Indiana. So next week, we'll go east, Bo.
You're right, Chris, as Mike Albee is the defending Tums champion, then the final jewel of the Triple Crown, the Firestone Tournament of Champions. And it's been a long week here as we have had 240 entries in the Firestone, and here's some of the other in the U.S. Open. Rod Pasteur, Wiseman in 9th place, Mark Williams, Bob Benoit getting a nice check. Warren and Earl Anthony. We'll have a little interview with him later on in the show today. Ryan Schaefer, the Power Players. Edwards has had a fabulous winner. Steve Wunderlich, solid as usual. Furpo, we saw him in the championship round a few weeks ago. Mark Roth, 40 years old, bowling fairly well. Figueroa, 18th and 19th. Holman, another U.S. Open champion. Tony Morisi coming back from a groin pull, 21st place. Big Steve Cook out of his slump. Harold Sullins, 23rd, and rounding out the top 24, former Rookie of the Year Hoskins, as you see the great trophy, and they're ready for the semifinal.
And it's so very important for this United States Open title. You get in the next game, the championship game, 40 to the winner, 22 to the runner-up, 12,000 to the loser of this game. Weber, with 2 wins, shoots first, left lane. Started the last game in the same manner. Now we got to look at 5'9", 150-pound, 24-year-old Richard Wolfe of Arlington, Virginia. 3rd last year in the Bud Classic.
Solid player, great wrist action on this bowling ball.
Now you talk about pressure being in your first major, Bo. Here is a shot.
He sends it wide. He leaves the 3-7, a split that is very makeable as you see the ball trying to snap in there up to the pocket, not to be. And he can make this by getting the ball to the right of the 3-pin and driving it over into the 7.
Come on, baby.
Richard Wolfe, sent at the Florida Open this year.
Good all-around athlete, played football in high school and baseball as his proud parents look on.
Alta and Frank. How about that? And there's his sister Sharon is here too, Nelson.
Great group of people. This man will win. He is probably the most improved bowler in the last 6 or 8 months on the Pro Tour. He needs a little self-confidence because he has all the tools.
Okay. Richard Wolfe, you know, we saw his dad, Frank, and before we went on the air, Frank came up to Dick Weber to say hello again, and he said to Dick, "You don't remember me, but I bowled you in Alaska, and you beat me." There they are together again.
Oh, my goodness. Dick Weber's bowled just about everywhere on the seniors tour and still a force at slightly over 60 years of age.
Young man. Now his son gets up, and Bo, while we have a chance, speaking of age, an 83-year-old pal of ours and a great Hall of Famer, Buzz Fazio, sustained another heart attack a week ago Friday, and he's at Pennock Hospital in Hastings, Michigan. We want to wish him the best of luck. A winner at age 56.
The oldest player ever to win a national championship.
Okay, big start for Weber.
And I'll tell you what, you look at that wry grin on Pete Weber's face, and he got a pleasant surprise. He didn't give that ball as much room as he wanted to give it, and it kind of set up at the pocket. And when a player has something like that happen, especially after he's won 2 matches, he's loose, #1 average and money winner out here on the tour, he's ready. He could shoot some big scores. He found a little hold area. He's been very successful on the left.
Turkey time. Come on.
I know what he's shooting for. Perfect game, 100 grand, true value.
You're right, Chris. He's got it all going, and as you see the ball coming in light, the head pin going the sideboard and knocking out the 2 and a 4, leaving the 7. He has all the confidence to do such.
We had 5 300s here this week. Bob Benoit, Rod Pastor, Walter Ray Williams, Roy Lynch, and Steve Cook.
Glad to see big Steve Cook out of his slump. One of the great players and very entertaining in a championship round. Let's take a look at the grip of the lefty Wolfe. The full fingertip grip or full grip just touches the tips of the fingers in there, cups that wrist, and a tremendous release. Great strike ball.
First strike for Richard Wolfe, who in a 5-tournament span finished 6th 3 times.
The good style of Richard Wolfe. Watch how he tucks that ball inside out, right next to that right leg as he swings through. That's the key to a good, powerful release. And I'll tell you, that wrist action is world class, and he is really developing quickly. Now he can cut the lead of Weber's down to 10 pins here in the 4th.
What an exciting shot out on that left channel. Lead is only 10 now, and we'll be back. Doubleheader tomorrow, football and racing, and a duo here from the PBA office in Akron, Commissioner Joe Antonora and Al Thompson, who runs the regional programs. He will be inducted into the PBA Hall of Fame Meritorious Service in 2 weeks. Now, Pete Weber, spare up shooting in the 4th frame. Running it out, hoping that they would all go 7-pin. Won the first 2 matches. If you join us, he defeated Dave Ferraro 227-215, and then eliminated John Mazza 204-179. Okay, let's go to Bo Burton with a Hoosier.
Thank you, Chris. A fellow Hoosier, as you said. He's our tournament leader, Mark Thayer. A little nervous, or maybe these hometown folks will pull you through?
Well, I'm a little nervous, but I'm hoping everybody will pull me through. I mean, I'm feeling pretty good about myself, and the scores aren't going to be real high, I believe. So if I go out and stay out of trouble and make my spares, I'll be fine.
Awfully confident, Chris. He's looking for his first victory. He'll be in the championship match.
And there's Pete Weber now, 17-time champion, one of the 3 Triple Crown winners, Billy Hartwig and John Petraglia, going against Richard Wolfe, looking for his very first PBA title. Richard has a double working, can take a 1-pin lead with a strike here. Mr. Excitement. I think our statistician, Butch Soper, likes those shots.
He does. Listen to the crack of those pins. You can hear Richard Wolfe's ball over and above anybody in this bowling center. As you see this nice steady shot. Look at that arm swing. He has no nickname next to his bio, Chris, as you see his reaction. Let's name him Mr. Wrister. I like this guy's hand action. And our tournament leaders falls in that same category. Wolfe can make an 11-pin lead, 6 frame.
That's 4 in a row. And the pressure is on the Triple Crown winner, Pete Weber, now, who has a strike up and will be shooting in the 6th frame of the semi-final game.
First time Weber has been pushed all day long. Let's see how he reacts.
Oh, yes. We've seen that before, haven't we, Bo?
You bet, Chris. And you looked up there, he's starting to play that little hold spot we saw in the 2nd frame when he accidentally pulled the ball a little bit. It's set up, and he uses that area right now on the right-hand lane. He's going what we call almost down and in, swinging out to about the 8th board. On the left-hand lane, he's starting it down the center, swinging out to about the 3rd board. Can retake the lead. He trails by 1, 7th frame.
Pete Weber, winner of first 2 matches, has strung 3. As a result, leads Richard Wolfe by 9 pins. We'll return. That was next Saturday, and join us. And joining us here now, the family members, Sharon, that is Alta and Frank Wolfe. sister, mom, and dad of Richard Wolfe.
And of course, Dick Weber, Hall of Famer, and Pete Weber's fiancee, Kim Schulteis. The wedding date is July 13th. Now, Richard Wolfe, up 7th frames, trails by 9, can take the lead with a strike.
Oh! Coming up high, leaving the 2-4-7.
And the spare that we've seen some players have trouble with, the left-handed version of the 3-6-10. Weber missed the 3-6-10 in an earlier match. Wolfe has really worked on his spare making, throws the ball very hard and cuts that hook down. And how he does it, he doesn't snap that wrist through the ball as you see him using the full approach at the point of release.
A win here at the United States Open would be Richard Wolfe's first tournament victory. And here's what else it would mean to him.
A lot of great bowlers have won this tournament for their first title. I think that I'm ready to do so, and that $40,000 could change my lifestyle.
Yeah, it changed a lot of lifestyles, $40,000 in 1 week. And if he's going to have that happen, it behooves him to start throwing some more strikes. He trails by 12.
Oh, goodness.
Real bad break there. Gets the 6-8, and what he has to do is get the ball over to the left of the 6 or the right of the 6 pin and slide it in the 8. Get it right in this area, slide that 6 into the 8. Big shot.
All right, the Open coming in the 8th frame. Immediately going down 25 pins to Pete Weber. Richard Wolfe.
Weber, being the experienced veteran, coming up in the 8th frame with a chance to lock this up, will make this his Sunday shot. Can lead by 35 if he strikes.
Pete Weber, intensity. When he's concentrating, it's hard to beat.
Yeah, and his game is as sharp as ever, Chris. He's going to cash in every single tournament this winter. He's taking off next week. He's 14 of 14 in cashes this winter. He'll obviously cash at the Firestone 15 for 15, and he can lock up the match right here with a strike in the 9th.
Winner of the Fairlanes and the Johnny Petraglia this year. Numbers 16 and 17. He has left the 2-4 as Mark Thayer, tournament leader, warms up casually off to our right. You'll hear the pin fall.
For Richard Wolfe to have any chance of winning this match and going on to the final against our tournament leader Mark Thayer, he must strike here in the 9th, 10th, and his second ball in the 10th for sure to get into the 220s. It's going to be history here.
3-7-9.
Has to get that ball over in the 3-9 zone and hopefully bounce something into the 7. Needs to get it right in here, bounce something back out of the pins. A very tough shot in a critical situation.
Richard won 2 regional titles in his short career. One in LaGrange, Georgia, another in Norfolk, Virginia. 24 years old.
He is as good a prospect as I've seen come up, especially on the left side, Chris. He has the ability to move inside, outside, good speed control, excellent arm swing, and I love the way he throws that ball.
So do I. It's exciting. It's exciting. Well, it was a lovely shot, and I know he's disappointed. And Pete Weber, of course, has won his 3rd match and has a chance now with one more victory to win his 2nd United States Open title. But Mark Thayer is in his way. Stay tuned.
Go. go, Chris.
Thank you, Frank Gifford. And this is the way the tournament, the United States Open, has gone up to now. Pete Weber has won 3 matches. 7 strikes, 227, 215. Again, 7 strikes, 204 to 179. An even bigger game now in his 3rd match, eliminating Richard Wolfe, 236 to 202. And there you see our stepladder approach as we reach the finals of this year's United States Open. We're delighted to be back here in Indianapolis, which is the amateur sports capital, and it reminded us that this coming week the United States Olympic Committee has high hopes that the International Olympic Committee might vote to make bowling a regular sport at the Barcelona Games. There is even bigger hope, so says our president of the United States Olympic Committee, Mr. Helmick. The executive committee of the USOC has recommended that it be a regular sport at the Atlanta Games in 1996. We do know this, that it is a regular sport in the Pan Am Games, which ABC will be televising a little bit later on this year. The last time it was a regular sport was at the 1936 Berlin Games. Long overdue. Right, Bo?
You're right, Chris, and the jury is still out on whether they're going to allow the PBA touring pros to play in it as an Olympic game. But 2 of the greatest players that ever stepped on a bowling lane are down here on the approach with me. 4-time All-Star U.S. Open champion Dick Weber, father of Pete, who's going into the championship game. Any advice for your son, Dick?
I never give my advice to my son, you know, going into the championship game. He's won 3 matches. He's done well, and he's got the angle, he's got the rhythm, he's got everything going.
He won his first U.S. Open from the 5th spot. Maybe he'll do it again today. And one of the greatest players of all time, Earl Anthony, in semi-retirement, making an appearance here at the U.S. Open. How come you are here?
I'm getting ready for the Firestone, really. This is probably my last hurrah bowl. I'm going to bowl the Firestone maybe for the last time ever, and I felt that to be ready for the Firestone and compete against these kids, I had to get at least 2 tournaments in, so I bowled last week and this week.
All right. Good luck to you in the Firestone, and see both of you in ABC Sports on June 8th.
You know, ladies and gentlemen, I have done about every sport, fortunately, in this long career. I'll match the quality of those 2 professional athletes with any other 2 in any sport. Dick Weber and Earl Anthony. All right, now from Lafayette, Indiana, Mark Thayer has yet to win a PBA title, but he's been close. First shot. Have come about 60 miles from Lafayette to cheer him on.
60 Lafayette. I don't know Indiana that very well, but
it's northwest.
Northwest, up Interstate 65, I guess.
It's also the home of Purdue University.
Ooh. You know about them. Now here's Weber going for his 2nd U.S. Open crown.
Leaving the 7 pin. After 3 wins, he has a chance to win $40,000.
The timing, the good style of, most likely, and in my opinion and a lot of other opinions, the best player in the world today, Pete Weber.
No, talking to Earl and Dick brought back a few memories.
Yeah, 2 of the greatest players. And when we said June 8th, we have the Seniors Tour on ABC television from Las Vegas. Hopefully, Dick and Earl will make it to the top 5.
Baby of the Weber family. Pete. Mark Thayer, very good athlete at Lafayette Jeff High School. 5'11", 165 pounds. Came out late. Worked 10 years at Fairfield Gear along with his brother Skip. Decided to quit that and this full time.
Sorry, Chris, the same fate that hit most of the players in their opening shot on the right-hand lane. As you see his style, a solid 5-step delivery, shoulder high swing, good wrist action, really gets a heavy roll, and he also goes high on the right-hand lane in his first attempt. That's happened to almost every player so far in the championship round.
Mark Thayer, who bowled as an amateur in the True Value Open here in Indianapolis in 1986, where he finished 7th and was 11th in the 1989 Showboat at Atlantic City as an amateur.
And we allow 2 amateurs bowl in every tournament if they can qualify. Now we'll take a look at Thayer's position. Plays the big hook ball, he'll slide in this area, and he'll be right around the third arrow.
What a family. Mom, Kathy, with two sons, 13-year-old Brian and 11-year-old Sean. There's Pop.
He's determined. He had a chance to make the final round in the PBA National 2 weeks ago. He lost his 56th and final game, and his wife had a little tear in her eye, but I said, you'll recover soon, and here he is in his hometown with a chance to win.
And again, a big double for Pete Weber, taking a 10-pin lead. You know, immediately following us, ABC's Wide World of Sports, special performances from the United States Figure Skating Championships Plus. Mark Spitz is coming back, the Olympic gold medalist dueling Tom Jager in the Clear Oil Option Challenge and the Bluegrass Stakes, presented by John Deere Lawn Care Dealers, live.
Exciting Wide World as Weber has a chance to take a 20-pin lead, fourth frame.
Hook, hook, hook!
Yeah! All right, and with that three-bagger, it's a 20-pin lead now by Pete Weber going against Mark Thayer in the title game. We're in the final game of the United States Open, making it to the top from Lafayette, Indiana, is the top seed Mark Thayer. He's trailing by 20 pins now, going against Pete Weber, who has won 3 matches.
The week 10, as this young man has improved in the last 2 years on the PBA Tour, and he told me, he says, I don't even feel like I've reached my potential yet, Bo. At age 31, he came out in this tour at the, he said, more than the urging of his wife, Kathy. He definitely has the tour-type ability, but right now he trails by 20.
Oh, stuck at the line and nearly missed the pin.
Well, what happens is the approaches and the lanes are prepared before the championship round, about 2 hours before the championship round, and nobody actually bowls on the left side of the approach. So there might be a little dust or something over there, and so he slips or sticks a little bit or both at the same time, but that's where the good arm swing and good technique comes in. He gets away with it, makes the spare. Now he's up in the 5th.
Yeah.
Gets the high hit and leaves the 6-10. Groping a bit.
Come on.
Highest league average this young man's ever had is 207. He said he learned to bowl on very demanding lane conditions, and that is a good trainer, as the Pro Tour demands that you learn to make a lot of spares and a lot of adjustments. So while these players with 240 averages struggle on the tour, the lower ones have better.
Thanks.
And he did it again at the line and blew it.
Well, once again, he had a little trouble with the approach, but he has just opened the door wide open for Weber as he slides by the 6-10 in the 5th frame. And I'll tell you what, Pete Weber will try to get everything he can get out of this 5th frame. He knows he has the match in hand if he can throw some strikes.
Pete's opponent, Mark Thayer, had finished twice in second position. Second at the Pinole Open, where he lost to Brian Voss in a roll-off, 50-45, and he was second in the AC Delco as well.
There's a lot of heart in that young man, so don't count him out. Pete Weber may open up a commanding lead here through the first 5 frames, but Mark Thayer may pull a Kelly Kaufman, as we recall him coming back in the late frames last week.
Weber now, he has strung 5, opening with a spare that last in the 6th frame. And Mark Thayer now with the pressure on, shooting in the 6th frame after an open. Okay, like that. Mark Thayer tells us what a U.S. Open title would mean to his career. We'll get it to you later. I mean, a heck of a lot, I can tell you that.
Well, he needs to strike badly. Trails by 53, but he still has a chance. 7th frame.
And his two sons, 13 and 11, just applauding wildly, along with those that appreciate excellence. There they are. That lady over the shoulder, that is Kay Wapinski, Chief Wapinski's bride of 43 years. Chief Wapinski, Executive Director of the Bowling Proprietors, retiring in June. Pete is on a roll. He has won 3 matches coming to this point, Nelson.
Same scene set, Chris, as when he won his first U.S. Open title, 1988, Atlantic City. He's qualified 5th. In fact, he barely made the first cut to 60. Then he barely made the second cut to 24. The same scene set was right here. He barely made it. He qualified 24th and last. And now he has a chance to climb all the way to number 1. He has a commanding 53-pin lead, 8th frame.
Come on, come on!
Pete Weber can go on to win. He will go over the $129,000 mark for the year.
As one of Dick Weber's great sidekicks on the great Budweiser team, Tom Hennessy, used to say when you had a big lead, Katie, bar the door. And I think he's saying that right now at home as he's watching Pete Weber have a commanding lead.
Mark Thayer hanging in there. He was working with a double, shooting in the 8th frame.
Very likable young man who we'll see a lot more of. And that Richard Wolfe that we saw in the semifinal, Chris, he's a good-looking player out here, too. He has good roll on the ball, good speed control.
We can say that about all of them.
Yes.
Dave Ferraro.
Dave's an experienced player, yep. And so is Mazza getting there.
That's the beauty of doing these finals each week. Mark Thayer now will tell us what an Open title would have meant to his career.
Well, with it being my first title, it would be nice, but with it being a major, it's going to be especially nice. And it's Firestone is where you want to get, and it's not just a 1-year exemption, it's a 3-year exemption. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Firestone 2 weeks from now. Unfortunately for Mark, he's going to have to win next week to get there.
9th frame strike. 33-year-old Mark Thayer.
Thayer, a possible 216 Weber, a potential 290. And remember how well Ron Palumbi bowled last year, 269 to capture the title for the U.S. Open, the championship game.
Keeps mowing him down. Opened with a spare in the first frame and strikes the rest of the way. And a winner.
It's interesting. Pete Weber is going to win. He's cashed 14 of 14. He'll go to the Firestone 15. He'll serve his 6-month suspension, and he still feels that he has a chance for Player of the Year if he comes back in the fall strong.
There's a man to catch. There's the bride-to-be, Kim Schultheis. She and Pete will marry in July. Her mom and dad have come over to watch their future son-in-law go at it. And he, like Marshall Holman, has won his 2nd United States Open title, and there is a total. You think fathers aren't in the game with their sons? Look at that native of Indianapolis, Indiana, Dick Weber. And Dick, it takes a man to cry, and you are a man. You produced a pretty good chip off the block. Nice going, young man.
Well, thank you, Chris. Well, I don't know what to say. God. It's exciting. Boy, Woodlawn's been just fantastic to me over the last 3 years. We've bowled regionals that I've won here and over at Western Bowl, and I finally got to win here on a national stop. So it just makes it that much better.
Dad's hometown.
Dad's hometown.
Grandma.
And Grandma Delk, hi. Mom, hi. Boy, it's just been a fantastic week. I've been sneaking in the back door all week long.
Moving in here now, to your right, is the president of the Bowling Proprietors, Mr. Wally Hall, and look at this trophy.
Well done, Pete. Congratulations on a great 2nd U.S. Open, magnificent victory. You were 24th yesterday, and here you are winning it today. And on behalf of 3,600 bowling proprietors who are members of the BPAA, congratulations on a great victory and a worthy champion.
All right. In addition to the trophy, Ray Muir, tournament director, $40,000.
On behalf of the Bowling Proprietors Association of America and also the Central Indiana Bowling Proprietors Association, I present you with this check for $40,000.
Thank you. Yes. Now with the green jacket, the man that's retiring this year, Pete, after 20 years as the executive director of the proprietors, Chief Wapensky, congratulations to you as well.
Thank you, Chris. And on the 50th anniversary of the All-Star BPA U.S. Open, it's my pleasure again to put this jacket on you, Pete, symbolic of your victory. Wear it with pride. We're proud to have you our champion. God bless you.
This will help with the planned wedding to Kim.
Well, yes, it will, Chris. It'll help immensely with my wedding on July 13th with my fiancée, Kim. Again, I'd like to thank Wally. Sorry, Wally, I missed you fairly. Chief Wapensky, thank you very much again.
Got to go.
Thank you, and Ray, thank you very much.
Goodbye.
I appreciate it.
Say
Goodbye.
Okay, the champ. See you next week in Windsor Locks, Connecticut. The executive producer of ABC Sports' presentation of the Professional Bowlers Tour is Jeffrey Mason. Produced by Carol Letty. Directed by Larry Cam. Associate Director Manny Cabral. Technical Director Michael Carmen. Operations Manager Les Weiss. Assistant to the producer Chris Schachter.